go back there and make sure the bastard's dead. Move, Lieutenant Baird.
There goes a record. What? I went from lieutenant to war criminal in less than a week.
As you were.
The accused are denied any right to an attorney and may not question the authority of this tribunal.
So we can't ask why you're doing this now.
At the conclusion of this tribunal, I will issue a fair and swift verdict.
Right, of course you will.
Colonel, are we being charged with doing our job?
The charges will be defined as I hear your testimony. Now, Lieutenant Baird, begin with the last time we saw each other.
What's up, Fox and Fox here, and today we are playing everybody's favorite Gears of War game. Why is this at 30 FPS? Okay, what's up, Fox and Fox here, and welcome to Gears of War Judgment, everybody's favorite Gears of War game. In this video, I'm going to be talking about some of the things that Judgment did right, which I know is like, ooh, scandalous.
We got volunteers.
But I think that Judgment gets a bad rap because of its multiplayer, but I also think that it deserves to have some credit put towards it. Something that I was thinking about was like comparing this to Ultimate Edition, where this game gets rid of the muddy brown filter for a lot of it. Like this art style is much more rich, but it doesn't feel cartoony like Gears of War Ultimate Edition or Reloaded do. This is couch. So, you know, I have a lot of problems with Judgment's campaign. The primary one I'm going to try and rectify throughout Gears of War Judgment's playthrough. But that's going to take some time to get to, because as far as I know, the Retrolancer is not... excuse me, I'm burpy today. The Retrolancer is not available until later on in the campaign, so I think for this first part, I want to talk about like what Judgment did right.
One by one, and Command has no idea who or what's responsible.
So at first, in replaying this game, I was interested in the fact that Baird felt like a different character than the Baird we know in like Gears 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Especially like the stark difference between his sort of demeanor between Judgment and Gears 1. And I realize now that it's more because I think he's trying to prove himself in this game. You know, he has stakes to hold, right? And I think that losing his rank as lieutenant and not being able to be promoted in the future kind of served as a catalyst for the kind of asshole Baird that we see in the future iterations. And I think that's why he kind of gets softer. There's a lot of lore reasons why he gets softer between Gears 2 and 3, but I think a big reason that he gets softer between 3 and 4 is because he has stakes in it again, right? So like when Hoffman and Chairman Prescott were there, you know, he never really had the chance to get promoted, I think, until Gears 3, and even then he didn't respect the COG. So I think when Anya took over the Coalition after the end of Gears 3, he found stakes in it again because it was people he cared about being in charge. Something that I don't like about Judgment, on the other hand, are these stupid declassify missions. just because they break up the pacing of the game. If this game had what Gears of War 3 had, which was a standard in arcade mode, or maybe a standard arcade and Iron Man mode, right? So standard is no declassify missions. Arcade is kind of like this breaks up so you can choose. And then like Iron Man or, you know, Insane means that declassify missions are on all the time. So that way it doesn't break up the pacing as much, because that's a huge thing in this game is I don't mind the reverse storytelling. My dad disagrees with that, but I don't mind the reverse storytelling of like they're in court trying to recollect their memories, but the end of mission parts where you have to like look at a scoreboard in between, like really short missions too. So it's just a constant barrage of menu screens, kind of breaks the immersion, and the declassify missions also add to that. With that said though, this could have been done better. Again, with Iron Man or maybe like a canon mode, that would have been great. And that's another thing that I would have loved for them to add to Gears of War Judgment, would have been a canon and arcade mode. And if they're going to add the Mark II Lancer to E-Day, that's what they need to do, is the canon, no Mark II Lancer. It didn't exist. It doesn't exist in the time of Judgment. You're only supposed to use the Retro Lancer. But,
I'd heard other units
you know,
talk about the glowing wretches.
I think that Judgment was a rushed project that really didn't have heart behind it, because why are we focusing on Baird's trial and not Marcus's trial as a prequel and all that stuff?
Convoy had been wiped out in minutes. Never seen anything like it.
Yay. And people are like, oh, the Onyx Guards are so elite. And I think, again, an easy way to retcon this, because I do agree that the Onyx Guards are supposed to be the elite of the elite, and having them just fucking die immediately is kind of hilarious. But if they had the Mark I Retro Lancer, which was an inferior weapon against the Locust, it would make more sense for them to die easier, right? Because they're ill-equipped. If you don't have the right tools for the job, it doesn't matter how much skill you have. You can't fix, you know, you can't boil water using a wrench, you know, it's just not possible. So I think if this game just replaced the Mark II Lancer with the Mark I and kind of just focused on that as the catalyst for why the Onyxes were dying, and also this game needed about 98% less Onyx Guard presence, because Onyx Guards are everywhere in this game, which, you know, I guess for maybe a frontline attack on the Locust makes sense, but at the same time, they're supposed to be these secret elite that don't really interact with normal COG, don't really go out on the streets when necessary, like all that kind of stuff. So I don't like the Onyx presence. I think, again, if we had like an E-Day trailer where you can see the Onyx is putting up a fight against the Locust, but still succumbs because their weapons aren't good enough, would have been great. But, you know, instead they just decided, let's put as many Onyx Guards as we can into this game to make it look badass and cool, was not the correct approach. I think the Onyx Guards do have their best look in either Gears 3 or Judgment. I think that the armor Baird is wearing right now is my favorite armor in all of Gears of War. I don't know why, but something about the aesthetic just looks great.
Lewis, this is Lieutenant Baird. Big problem, sir. Our convoy just got destroyed.
Then move on to the Museum of Military Glory. It's under attack.
Sir, whatever destroyed our convoy's still out there.
I love this part. Yes, I am definitely running this on a legitimate Xbox 360. No, I'm running this on an emulator. I have more legal copies of Gears of War Judgment than I think anybody else on the planet does, so I think I've earned my right to run this on an emulator. Solely for the purpose of, yes, there is FPS boost on the Xbox, but there is no resolution boost, and I think that this game deserves a resolution boost, because if there's one thing that it did right, it's the art style.
The museum was on the other side of the river, the side the COG no longer controlled. I thought maybe we could slip through unnoticed.
On top of that, I also think that character building is actually one of this game's strong suits, because I remember the collective everybody's shitting their pants when Paddock returned in Gears 5, and thinking of it like Gears of War 4 and 5 are two games, and I still could give less of a shit if Kate or JD or Dell die. Like, they just do not matter to me at all. And yet, in one game where he's not even the main character, Paddock became a fan favorite. And it's like something in the water at Epic Games really had a knack for character storytelling, because people loved Alicia Valera in ROM Shadow, which is like a 3-hour DLC, and she became a fan favorite that they brought back in Gears 5 as a playable character in multiplayer. So, like, you know, and Barrick is like the fan favorite, you know, like everybody loves Barrick. Unauthorized Hammer of Dawn strike. See, this is cool, right?
The old town, a Hammer of Dawn free fire zone.
I like the fact that, you know, the Hammer of Dawns are going off in unauthorized zones, because this is what Prescott was doing during E-Day. He didn't know what the hell he was doing. He charred his own cities to try and stop the Locust, and nobody decided to tell him, hey, I think they're underground, so this may not work. So, again, this is all about, like, early storytelling of the game, of the franchise, which could have been done a lot better, but I do not think that the problem with this game was its campaign. I think the campaign, while maybe not as intrinsic to the lore as, say, Gears 2 and 3, I think it stands on its own, kind of like a Gears 1, where you're introduced to new characters. You're kind of getting a feel for what the Locust Horde was like on E-Day. However, while it is serviceable, it definitely could have been done better. E-Day should have been the game that released instead of Judgment, far and away. Judgment could have been a sequel to E-Day, but, you know, it is what it is. So, you know, it's great. It is awesome, but I really hope that now that I think about it more and more, you know, I get that the Mark II is iconic. In my opinion, E-Day should not have a whisper of the Mark II Lancer. They should just use the tuning of Gears 5's Retro Lancer, so that way it's usable. But, and I think that's what they're going for. All of their release stuff has indicated that the Mark II is not going to be the main weapon in the game. With that said, though, if they are going to add the Mark II, I think adding it in like an arcade mode like Gears 3 would be serviceable and not overly atrocious. I just want a lore-accurate mode. Gears of War has some of the best lore in the video game book genre, and to adapt those books into a full-fledged video game, while not an easy task, you know, could be done. And while I am happy that the Gears of War 2 writer has returned to E-Day to work on the script, I really would have wished that they would have cut Karen Travis a really fat check, because she was the one that did the primary writing for Gears 3. And she's the one that wrote all the lore. So if you're trying to do prequels, do it in her vision, because her vision is what people see in Gears of War. Not necessarily, you know, Gears 4 and 5, people don't like the books. I don't really like the books. Karen Travis is just a legendary video game / Star Wars writer. And I don't even like Star Wars, but I bet you if I read her books, I would enjoy them. So, you know, again, just cut her a fat check, say, hey, come back and write your vision of what E-Day was like. And I think that would probably be the best game ever made. But we're getting off topic, as I theorize about E-Day. But what Judgment got right is not just art style, but character development as well. Oh shit! I didn't do it in time. I forgot that I was on a timer. I was too busy talking. Yeah, Gears Judgment really does a good job of like hammering down characters you've never met before as memorable, which is extremely rare. I don't want the Marksa. That's the problem, is I picked up the Marksa. That gun's a piece of shit. I hate the Marksa in all games. Breach shot's mid. People can use the breach shot to quite the talented effect, but I'm a long shot forever kind of guy. So Alright, let's be smart about this. Let's get through this as fast as possible. Something else that I really liked was the rotating enemy variants in Judgment. I think that was awesome. It makes every playthrough feel unique. Because all enemies are going to be different depending on respawns and stuff. So if you're playing on, you know, Insane, it's really difficult because you can't just memory track what enemy types there are and stuff. You know, you have to really think about, you have to know all enemy types and how to subvert them so that way you feel more competent and more prepared to go through this game. So I really like the randomization of the characters. I hope that they do that in Gears E-Day, but it's not like a huge priority. It's just something that I thought was really cool about Judgment that could be brought forward. I think that they don't want to touch Judgment with a 10-foot pole, but I think that there are things that could. I don't think people disliked the verticality of Judgment. I think it was just a matter of, you know, there was so much changes to gameplay that the good stuff got lost in all the bad stuff. Like, honestly, campaign really does not play that different from other Gears games. Okay, you know what? Get out of here. I don't know who I just blew up, but it wasn't the living person. Okay. Okay. We got time. We got time. We're good. We're chilling. We're chilling. Again, classic hammer burst. I hope returns in E-Day. Maybe as a power weapon in multiplayer as opposed to a spawn weapon. Just because that is one thing that, like, I don't really care what E-Day does with the hammer burst. I would prefer the classic hammer burst as an homage. I think that's the best visual design of the hammer burst. But the single shot does give it more purpose within the sandbox, so, you know. They could do like a long range or a mid-range locust weapon. I think like all of Halo 4, where there's the plasma carbine, which would maybe be like the classic hammer burst, and then the plasma repeater, which is more mid-range. Okay, we got 43 seconds to take out all these baddies. So let's get this done quick. I gotta focus for a second. I'm also biased towards Judgment because Barrett is far and away my favorite characters. If you've read the books, you know why. His character development is some of the best writing, like, not just in video game books, but of all time. So, and Cole and his relationship, especially in Aftermath in this DLC, is I think fondly looked on by people who played Aftermath and Judgment. So, I think unfortunately they changed the multiplayer too much for any valid, you know, oh, I really like this about Judgment, to ever really reach the light, which is sad because I think Judgment was too experimental for what it was, but it did glean some good parts. Okay, so this...
I know we're forbidden from using enemy weapons, Colonel, but to survive out there in the field, you have to know how to adapt.
It's also dumb that they're forbidden from using enemy weapons. That's stupid. So I'm glad that that never really took heed, because, like, especially if you're thinking about, again, the Mark I Lancer being an inferior weapon, why would you not just be like, okay, I'm gonna cop a hammer burst real quick and mow him down instead of relying on this piece of shit shoulder jockey? But you know, that's all good. It's fine. Again, the art style in this game may be a little too, like, cel-shaded for my taste, but I think overall it's a good mix between, we're not doing brown and gray anymore, but we're also not going to make this look like Overwatch, which is something that Ultimate Edition and Reloaded unfortunately fell into, as well as parts of Gears 4. So... it's great. It's great. I did hear rumors of a Marcus Fenix collection coming. I've been hearing rumors of that since, like, I don't know, 2010. So I'm not holding my breath, but the leak seemed a little bit more legit and reliable than just word of mouth. So if it is real, I sincerely hope they do it a la MCC and not just campaign only in Unreal Engine 5. people largely agree that the graphics in Gears of War did not need to be upgraded or remastered. They are artistically sound in a way that the visual upgrades are not necessary, other than like resolution boosts and, you know, maybe more post-processing effects. But the actual like core texture work and everything is done so well that even though it's low poly, and it's intended to be a more realistic, grounded standpoint, I would rather take dated graphics than whatever the hell Gears of War Reloaded and Ultimate Edition were trying to do. So I hope that they focus all their resources on E-Day, and then maybe like 2 years later they're like, here's the Marcus Fenix collection. In truth, I sincerely hope that we see a Pendulum Wars game. I do not like the design of the UIR soldiers by any stretch of the imagination. I think they look goofy as hell and stupid. But with that said, it is integral to the development of Dom, especially if you're able to squad up with Carlos as I think it's Marcus, Carlos, and Bernie on the front lines, and Ty. No, not Ty. Dom is with Commandos and Hoffman to get to Asphalt Fields. But a segmented campaign like that, I would not mind, where one half you're playing as Dom and one half you're playing as Marcus. Because there are so many characters to explore in the Pendulum Wars. But, you know, E-Day would be good. A TV series based on the drama behind the turning of the Hammer of Dawn keys, I think would be a smash hit, not just with Gears players, but people who are just fans of political drama and tension in general, as like a what if, or what would happen if people are met with a unknown entity and have to choose what to do to save the population of humanity. I think that would be great. So I think I am extremely cautiously optimistic about the future of Gears of War. I hope that E-Day is a smash hit, brings all the classic fans as well as new people into the franchise, followed by a Marcus Fenix collection, a TV show, and a movie, plus continuations on E-Day, creating sequels around the first couple of years of E-Day. Could make for a really great resurgence in the Gears franchise. But at the same time, I also know Coalition's ability to kind of beef things up, so, you know, I'm not holding my breath too much, but, you know, I'll refrain from my oxygen usage a little bit, especially once the showcase comes out. So, you know, I think it's important for them to look back on all video games and not just go, how do we make Gears 1 again? Because while Gears 1 is, by most people, considered the GOAT,
I know. Let's just get inside.
there are elements of every game that should shine through, even though I think the only reason they should be looking at Gears of War 4 is like in a PowerPoint presentation that's titled in size 200 font, what not to do.
Luma sent us. Where should we go?
I'm Onyx.
No, you're not. Thank you, Onyx Guard. Thanks, Paddock. Now I see why people like. I don't like Paddock that much, but he's got flair. He's got personality. And everybody's favorite. Now they can can this, and I'll be extremely happy if they do. We don't need horde segments that are completely just stupid and asinine. I think that we can leave that in the past.
Souvenir.
The campaign needs to feel as immersive and forward-moving as possible if they want to succeed. That is what made Gears 1 through 3 fantastic. So having these positions where it's like, I'm going to spend a minute defending this hall with, you know, Pharaoh Cog Man just doesn't really feel as satisfying as a linear campaign, but that's just my 2 cents. I know not to criticize things that I don't know. So like Horde in E-Day, listen to people who actually play Horde. There are people who commit their lifetimes to Horde, and I touch Horde like once every other year and call it a day. So I prefer story, and of course, you know, I'm really excited. I hope E-Day's tuning in multiplayer is phenomenal, because if I could go back to being the you know, top 1,000 and fighting the leaderboards and all that stuff, like I did in Gears 4, that would be phenomenal. But the game has to be good. It has to have good unlocks. Get rid of the battle pass. I would prefer loot boxes to the battle pass, or like Overwatch is doing now, kind of a mix of both. But there also has to be quite a lot of just free unlockables that you can get as well. I do not want to have to unlock Baird by completing a 60-hour grind, or pay $5 to skip it and just get him instead. So I'm glad they retconned that in Gears 5, but it was too little too late. Kind of like Halo Infinite's doing now. I feel really bad, honestly, that, you know, it's not like I don't hate the Coalition. There are people in the Coalition that I think have done a disservice to Gears of War. When it comes to like the monetization, which everybody hated, it is clear that this is Microsoft meddling in those games. Halo Infinite is literally doing the same sundown that Gears 5 did, you know, in 2022. And then they're doing Campaign Evolved, which is Gears Reloaded, which nobody liked because Reloaded sucked ass.
That can't be all of them.
And I'm sure Campaign Evolved is also going to suck ass because there's no multiplayer. So I'm you know, honestly, I hate to say it, but I kind of hope Combat Evolved, or whatever, Campaign Evolved, gets murked to hell and back in reviews and by the community, because I need them to stop thinking that a fresh coat of paint on old games that have already been remastered once before is not the way to do things. So, you know.
We're not done yet.
And also, it feels like a Hollywood thing, right? Where it's like, well, nobody likes our news stories because we don't know how to write anymore. ChatGPT and character AI aren't doing a good enough job role-playing as Marcus Fenix, so, you know, we don't really have a story to go off of. Let's just do what's been done before. So I'm E-Day, while it should definitely take notes from the books, even heavily inspired notes is fine by me, but it needs to feel authentic and original as well, which is a delicate balance, and I get that it'll be hard to please everybody, so, you know, but if they return to this sort of art style, I frankly actually strongly prefer Marcus's new design for what he looked like during E-Day, because you can unlock Marcus in Judgement, and he's a cosmetic in Gears 5 as well, the Omega Squad Marcus. He looks awful. Marcus in E-Day looks much better. Dom to me is kind of like Star Fox. I think it would have been much better if they based it more on his design from the original trilogy as opposed to the design of Ultimate Edition. You know, I don't like the fact that Dominic Santiago is now a chud with a neckbeard. He looked better with a full, you know, beard. But maybe he can't grow it because he's too young, because they are super young when E-Day starts. If I had to guess, I don't remember the lore off the top of my head, but they're either like maybe Dom might be a teenager still in E-Day, or very early 20s.
Bring it on.
And I hate to say it, But I really hope we get to see Dom's kids just get fucking murked by an emergence hole. Because that would be
If we
good.
don't hurry, they're not going to make it.
That would be good. Killing children? My games? Hell yeah. No, but I think that everybody loves Dom. And if you've never read the books before, it's only like lightly alluded to the fact that he has kids in Gears 3. And to have like his entire, like, Dom sacrificed his entire life for his family. He joined the military partly because, you know, I want to be buddies with Marcus and we can shoot stuff, and Carlos is in the military, but also because, you know, he was a teenage father with an accidental child, like, you know, so having the life that he had to sacrifice everything for be ripped away on E-Day, I think would build a lot to his character for the normies who haven't read the books. You know, and I hope that they kind of just take inspiration from the books. Talk about Baird's, like, change between 2 and 3 at some point. Observed Locust equipped with the new COG Mark II Lancer assault rifle. That's strange to me, because the Mark II Lancer assault rifle didn't exist yet, so how did the Locust get their hands on it?
We saw a new grub today, Colonel. Obviously, shock troops of some kind, with a strange helmet. They were tough. Very tough.
Oh no, I'm so scared of these Locusts. I am petrified of these Locusts that have guns that do not exist. Yeah, so for those of you that don't know, the Lancer Mark II originated a little after a year after Emergence Day. Ty went to Home Depot, grabbed the chainsaw, and then Marcus saw him saw up a Locust and was like, hey, that's way better than these shit-ass knives that just suck against Locust Tide, and I've got to run, you know, 30 meters for them to be sort of attainable. And then they're like, oh, Adam Fenix is like, yo, let's turn this into a real thing. And I think that the introduction of the Mark II Lancer is kind of the start of the turn of the tide for the war. Again, that's where I feel like Onyx Guards would become unstoppable, right? They have a weapon now that's made for the job that can cut through Locust Tide at close quarters, so they don't have to worry about fumbling for their weapons if a Locust gets too close. But is a solid all-rounder rifle, where the Retro Lancer was very much just like a close quarters combat sort of thing, as an antithesis to the UIR's longer range weapons. So, in a sense, I think that if they add UIR weapons, even though I will forever hate the marks up, but having a ranged option in conjunction with the Retro Lancer would kind of do the Lancer's job. Whoa. I thought... Are you sure about that? Because I think you just got absolutely crushed by a fucking Mauler. I don't like her. What's her name? Sophia Hendrick, yeah. She's annoying. I get the character arc. Doesn't mean I have to like her as a character. She's an interesting character. But... again, I think...
Not over yet, Kilo.
It's kind of like Bear, where the disillusionment with the COG starts at this trial. So she's just trying to kiss ass to keep herself in the Onyx Brigade. But that is what the beauty of Gears is there's no heroes and no villains. Like, okay, even Mira is not a villain, right? Like, you can definitely make the argument... And I actually prefer the argument that the humans caused the war, because that is essentially what happened. You know, but it then became sort of a homicidal attack. Adam Fenix couldn't fix the shit in time, and she just wanted to save her people. She's very maternal, etc., etc., etc. Prescott You're faced with an unknown enemy. You just got the most powerful weapon in the world a couple of weeks ago. Why not use it against the most powerful enemy? Yes, the Hammer of Dawn strikes were a horrible thing, but at the time, that's cool. I like this part of the game where it turns into oatmeal. Ooh, and refreshing the graphics didn't fix it either. Kill. Will it go away after this cutscene? Yes, it will. Okay. I hope that's not an issue persistent in all future cutscenes, but at least that cutscene was very unimportant.
Looks like that door's gonna give. When it does, start shooting.
I learned something today, Colonel. If it's shiny and looks important, the grubs will want to blow it up. Maybe
I like
we
that
should
too.
build more Nasser Embry armor exhibits. They make great decoys.
I like that a lot. Because I played this game yesterday. I got pretty deep into it before I decided I want to make a video on it. And the dialogue was completely different. It was about how, like, Nasser Embry, you know, if the COG want to keep it, all that fun stuff. So I don't know. I like this game. This game fun. This game, I like it, right? I don't love it. Gears of War 3, Gears of War 1 are the two games that I can say, honestly, after replaying Gears of War 2 recently as well, I love those games. I like Judgment. I dislike, actually, I strongly dislike Gears of War 4, and I like Gears 5. That is kind of my ranking.
Check your aim.
Shut up. Okay, I was wrong. Pick me up, please. Also, in playing Gears 3, it made me want to play Judgment because of, like, one line. It's when they're... Spoilers for Gears 3, if you haven't played the absolute legendary masterpiece that is Gears 3. But when they're in the elevator ride up, and Bear's pretty much freaking out. And Cole is the one who calms him down by... You know, Cole isn't happy either. Dom's dead, and you can tell that Cole is deeply affected by this. But at the same time, he knows that he has to have this sort of optimism, because if Bear gets stuck in his own circle of cynicism, it's really bad for him. So, show some goddamn faith. It's one simple line, but it defines their entire relationship. Bear just freaking out. Is the lambent counter weapon going to kill us all? We're all infected with emulsion. I'm freaking out. I ate emulsion soup for breakfast this morning. Am I gonna die? And Cole is like, dude, calm the hell down.
More where that came from.
And I think Bear needs that as a sort of, like, temperament check, right? Everybody loves Cole, but nobody loves Cole as much as Bear does. Even though they're, you know, they're assholes to each other, but let's be real. If you're not mean to your best friend, like 85% of the time, are you really best friends? You know what? I guarantee you this, right? Austin, comment down below that I'm fat. It's just how it goes, right? Because you have to hold each other accountable, so you're not mean. You're not mean in, like, a way that severely affects them, but you're mean in a way that, like, you can laugh about it. That's what's beautiful. But
My bad. They're on.
so, like, Tinkle Toes, even Cole makes fun of Bear. Like, it's not just Cole's not just a punching bag, and I think that's why they like each other too, is because they can give and take, not just sexually, but also in a battle of wits.
Did you stop the bleeding?
Oh, that was close. That was really close. I hate tickers. If these don't return in E-Day, I'll be happy. They're going to, because they're fundamental to the game. But I hate tickers. Wretches are my homies. Wretches, the monkeys, they're great. Glowing wretches can go to hell. Tickers can go to hell. My game is slowly turning into mush. It's probably Well, I've only been recording for like 37 minutes. I was gonna do like about an hour, so we still got time.
Get ready for more.
Yeah, let's get ready for more. Yay. I love horde segments. I love breaking immersion while Paddock and Sophia kind of just... That's not even Sophia, that's Cole. Cole, did anybody ever tell you you look like Sophia?
Dibs.
As you can tell, I am a complete nerd over Gears of War. And really and truly, what I want at the end of the day is a fun game that knows its identity. And Gears Ultimate Edition 4 and 5 lack identity. They do not know what made the original trilogy so special. And that is a huge disservice to the original team. And I'm not saying, you know, oh, Cliff Bleszinski had all the answers, because he did an interview about his vision for the future of Gears of War. It sounded like he was doing drugs, honestly. Like, what the hell are you talking about? But again, I think that it's a good representation of Cole and Baird. Rod Ferguson alone was responsible for the tragedy that was Judgement. I think he didn't really have a spine to Microsoft, but also kept the games grounded. Or no, Cliff was the one that stood up to keep the games grounded and true to the fans. But Rod was the one that kind of like followed the trends and kind of understood, kind of kept Cliff's more esoteric ideas in check. So I think everybody on the original team had a great counterbalance to each other, and these days it just seems like everybody's bowing to Microsoft's whims. No, the torque bows are not blue in the original game. I don't know what's going on with this emulation. It was working fine yesterday, but today it seems as though it does not want to cooperate. I hate tickers. Yes, I do. I hate tickers. Why did I swap my Lancer?
Bring it on.
I hate tickers. Yes, I do.
I hate that feeling.
Okay, I have to restart the emulation. So I think I'm going to end this video here. I think I talked a lot. That's a lot of information to digest, but let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. If you agree, disagree. You know, back in the day when Gears of War 4 came out and I was making content on it, back in 2017. So I was 9 years younger than I am now. I'm 24, so I was 15 years old. And I was very defensive about my opinions. These days, you know, I think that is extremely harmful to the activities, to the people of Gears of War who enjoy the franchise. Everybody's ideas are valid, and the Coalition can't win them all. So I hope that E-Day is accepted enough by the core community, you know, and I hope that it is to my taste, but if it's not, I hope that it at least is resonant with others. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you liked it, like, subscribe, do what you usually do, and as always, buy yourself something nice.